Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the NARPM podcast. I'm your host, Pete Neubig, and we have a good buddy of mine, Pat Jacobs, who is an entrepreneur, operator, and industry leader in property maintenance, construction, and field services. He's the CEO of Shamrock Property Maintenance and Shamrock Dirt and Forestry. He's built multi-state operations by focusing on systems, accountability, and doing work the right way. He's known for his hands-on leadership style and straight talk approach. He brings real-world insight into scaling service businesses, improving field execution, and leading with integrity. And Patrick and I, we met at an IMN conference. We hit it off. He's another lover of cigars, so we've solved many of the world's problems by smoking a cigar together. And I asked Patrick here to jump onto the NARPM podcast to talk a little bit about the vendor side of things. Right? We always talk about our maintenance coordination and maintenance, but we never talk about what we can do to make life easier for our vendors. So Patrick, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh man, Pete, thank you so much for having me. And, I think often about those world's problems that we solved smoking those cigars at IMN, but great seeing you today, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. So, I know you work with a lot of property management companies, some of the bigger ones in, or nationally, and you're in multi states, multi markets. And so I'm like, man, I'd love to just pick his brain on behalf of some of our smaller, NARPM's not IMN. We're probably average around 200 units per property management firm. We do have some big folks there as well. But so I was thinking like, okay, how can property managers work efficiently with maintenance vendors? Because you hear this like, we're supposed to be on the same team, but a lot of times it could get combative. So what are some of the things that you've seen where some of your clients are working more efficiently than others with Shamrock?
That's a great question. And I think it's something that is really a hot button issue for a lot of the maintenance vendors or folks like myself. I think the first thing is a clear set of rules of engagement, right? Is by giving us an idea of what they really truly expect. A lot of times, it's the maintenance coordinators are just looking for somebody that can solve a problem. But if we could have an upfront meeting in the beginning to say, hey, here are some of the core values that we have as a company and that we would need from you as the maintenance provider out there to do X, Y, and Z. And just, I would think of it, call of it as like a vendor guide almost. A lot of the larger companies do that. They give you a vendor agreement that you read through and it gives you a list of rules. This is how a code of conduct when you're out there on the property and things like that. And I'm not necessarily saying just for us, but there's, they use a lot of smaller, those smaller companies use, I like to refer to these folks as chucks in a truck. And a lot of times those guys, they don't know what's expected out of them except for to go and take care of the maintenance issue. So the first thing I would start out with is a good vendor agreement, and that's listing the things that you really, truly need.
Yeah.
Another thing that we struggle with sometimes, to be quite frank and honest, is communication. I tell folks sometimes that I feel like we over communicate, right? We're trying to update every last thing that we possibly can to make the process as good as possible. But getting that communication back from the property management companies and the maintenance supervisors that they have or technicians is really, really difficult. And it's hard for us to do our job if we don't have that open line of communication.
So a couple of things there that are great points. So a vendor agreement and having like an onboarding, almost like when we onboard a new owner, we should onboard a new vendor and almost have like an orientation, right? And the vendor agreement should have things like, hey, like not only just go do the job, but like never talk bad about the property management firm to your clients, to the residents.
That's right.
Don't point out all these different things that are wrong with the property. Like you can take notes of them, but don't let the resident know, let the property manager know, type deal. It should also talk about getting paid, right? Like, like they should get like, when do I invoice? What should an invoice look like? When do I get, and then what's the payment look like? Is it net 30? Is it net 15? I'm guessing maintenance guys like to get paid like right away.
They do.
Yeah.
They do as soon as possible, right?
But it's also should be like, hey, when you do a job, we expect an invoice in the next 7 days or something like that, right? I mean, one of the big challenges I had in my property management firm is I had one guy as a plumber. He was great, got the work done, but he would invoice me like 6 months later, and I'm like, dude, I don't even manage that property anymore. I can't pay you. So I think having the rules of the game through the vendor agreement is paramount. So I like that a lot.
Let's talk about invoicing just for a second. We invoice, our rule of thumb is within 24 hours. And oh boy, I couldn't even imagine trying to invoice something months out, right? That just doesn't, but knowing those terms, yes. Because with large institutional homeowners, they own all the properties. They're the ones that are paying you. And a lot of times they can pay much faster than a smaller PM, right?
Right.
But because a smaller PM, let's say they have 200 doors, they might have 10 or 20 or 30 different owners that has those 200 doors, and each one of those different owners does something a little bit different than the other.
Believe it or not, brother, it's more like 100 owners for those 200 doors.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. So those 100 owners that you have, they all pay differently. They all have different expectations on their properties. Right. I also think that the property management company should have a set of rules of engagement with them as well. What do we expect from the owner to be able to make our jobs easier? But go back to the invoicing just for a second. Having that laid out to where someone that is coming to do business or do maintenance services for you, having that laid out for them right away allows them to know what level of expectation is there, and it's not a surprise, right? I didn't know when they were requesting payment, and it's like, it's not going to be until the end of the month, like we said. Well, I didn't hear that, right? If it's in writing, then it's in writing.
Yep. Now let's talk about communication real quick, because you said communication is key. One of the feedback, some of the feedback I got from some of our vendors is that we send too many things. The vendor can't get anything done because he's getting blown up, and he's like trying to get stuff accomplished. So is there kind of a rule of thumb, like, hey, send me stuff in the morning and in the evening, or like I get new tickets or whatever, like we're going to send it to you when they come available, but like getting updates and stuff, like, is there, have you ever had any challenges with having your guys have too many, too much communication, too many people asking? Because sometimes we used to have like 3 maintenance coordinators, and again, that was a problem on our part, but all 3 would literally email or message the same vendor on the same
at one time.
Yeah.
So if any of our technicians and vendors was on this call with me, they would say, absolutely, we get too much communication. So does that happen? Yes. What's interesting about us is that we have a full team here that's able to handle those communications, and those teams are broken down by location, right? So another thing that is really helpful that I would urge any PM that is out there is to have an operating system of some sort for your maintenance. If that's using Property Meld, if that's using, some of the other ones that are AppFolio is one. We are well versed in all of those different types of portals. As a matter of fact, on a daily basis, we might go into 15 different portals in order for us to manage our workflows. So, but having a portal to be able to communicate back and forth, because the emails, I'm not saying that it's old school, but it really truly is. Emailing a work order somebody, and then we have to send the quote back in email. The thread becomes 20 different messages have been on this. It's hard to locate what was originally said. When you have a portal to operate in, then it's so much easier for us to communicate back and forth, because I can put messages in that portal just for that specific maintenance request.
Yep.
and I can communicate to that maintenance coordinator, it's easy for them to go in there and to look at that and then to be able to get back to us in a timely fashion about whatever issues we might be having. And it's the same for us. It makes that communication, I think, just so much, it's more open.
I love that. I was a big Property Meld user. Still think very highly of those guys. And you're right. Everything is in one place,
Yep.
right? What do vendors think about taking the before and after photos? Not a big deal. Big deal. Just kind of SOP, standard operating procedure.
Well, I guess as the years have gone on, Shamrock Property Maintenance has actually been in existence. February 6th was our 20th anniversary.
Oh, congrats.
When we started 20 years ago, it was a digital Kodak camera that you put 2 batteries in. You carried it around in your truck. You had these rechargeable batteries in there. You had an SD card, and sometimes you were swapping those out and things. Now it's transitioned to where, well, now I've got a cell phone. I can take all the pictures. Then it transitioned to now I've got a mobile app that I can take all the pictures with. It has really truly evolved into just this is the cost of doing business, is that you have to take these pictures. Now, before, during, and afters, we're real sticklers on that. As a matter of fact, we even take it another level. We make our guys flag the photos to tell us the before, during, and after of each different thing that's being done, because a simple maintenance request, replace a faucet. Okay, that's a few pictures, right? But if we're doing replace a faucet, repair flooring, cut a tree outside, whatever, you're doing multiple things, you need to kind of separate those photos. It's become pretty standard procedure.
Yep. What about video? Do you guys doing any video yet, or is it all just or just before and after photos?
We do video sometimes. We do request
water damage stuff, like if you see it drop in. Yeah, got it.
Yeah,
got it.
Yep.
And again, all that stuff is, if you could put it all in one spot, like the Meld or the AppFolio, makes things so much easier.
Well, and to touch on the photos just for a second, for those companies out there that maybe are still using email and things like that, one of the struggles that you have with the photos that you take with your iPhone here, right? The picture's too big. It's got the megapixels on it are so large that then you have to take and you have to put it into some sort of a system that makes the picture smaller and things like that. Our operating system takes the pictures down to a 400 by 600, and then we can make it into a PDF and we can send it to you and put 1 on there or 2 pictures or 4, whatever it is. But that slows the process down when a gentleman or a maintenance tech is trying to send you the pictures, or a company is trying to send them to you, and it's just through email, because the email may not allow you to attach more than just a couple of pictures.
Right.
In some instances,
now you have to send like 14 emails.
Correct. And it once again, that thread just grows and grows, and it makes it more and more difficult.
Yeah. Let's talk about quotes.
Yep.
Right. So, one of the things that I always just like, oh man, I got to send somebody out to get a quote. Then I got to send another person out because the client doesn't like the quote. How do you guys like quotes? Are they like a bane of your existence, or like how do vendors feel about quotes?
So quoting is we could touch on that for the whole entire half an hour, right? But let's just really break this down. Is once again having good information on the work order. We also have to realize that tenants are the one that are giving the description of what's going on in the house. And no disrespect to said tenant, but they may not have an idea of what even is happening, right? They're still trying to learn that. Having that good information on the front side helps the quote be more precise and more direct. We want to stay clean, safe, and functional, right? Those are the 3 main things that we're looking for in that property for the folks that are living there. So we're trying to base our quotes off of that. Our quotes sometimes very robust and large because of situations that are at the property, yes. But if we know what an owner or what a PM is really looking for, and we get good detailed instructions on the front side, then it's easy for us to submit that quote. Right now, we're quoting anywhere between, 300 and 400 jobs a week that we're quoting. And in that process, we have some pricing that we go by that we're kind of said, all right, this is what we're going to charge for all that. But another thing to speed that process up for quotes is that we can sit down with that PM and we can put together a tailored pricing structure for them that we've agreed on, that they feel like they can sell to their owners, and then it makes that process so much easier.
Do you have to go to the house to quote on majority of this stuff, or you can quote it right from your office with the information that you get?
Boy, I never like to quote with just the information that I get. Because once again, I don't know if the information I'm getting is 100% fully correct, right?
So you
So
guys are making appointments. You're going out to the property, and then you're basically doing a quote. If the quote's under the not to exceed, do you guys try to get on-site approval? Like, hey, this quote's for $300, but you're not to exceed 500. Like, can I just knock it out?
well, most of the time, because of that not to exceed, they've already allowed us to do that. So they set the parameter. If it's at 500 and it's 300, we just do the work. We're not even calling for approval.
Got
If it's over the 500, let me use a good example, because this is probably one of the number one issues for any PM that's looking at this, right? Hot water. Okay. Plumbing is a huge issue. It's our largest part of the business that we do.
Okay.
We get there, hot water heater's out. I've only got a $500 NTE. I'm trying to get an on-site because I'm dealing with a single mom that's got 2 kids at home. She's got to give them baths tonight and get them ready for school in the morning. She wants to have that hot water as soon as possible. It would be tragic for us to leave it. I will tell you that sometimes I just approve it and just tell them to go ahead and do it without even getting that on-site approval, because I'll work on that on the backside. I just want to do my due diligence. But having that ability to get that on-site and actually being able to talk to somebody or give me parameters, because that goes back to, once again, if we have some agreed upon pricing with each other and I can show you what it's going to cost for that, then that can speed that process up a whole lot and save so much in between time.
Yep. Again, it goes back to the vendor agreement, right? So you should be able to determine in the agreement what is actually an emergency, right? Because hot water, in theory, under property code, needs to be fixed. I know each state is different, but most states are like, hot water is kind of a fire alarm, like it's got to be fixed, and it's an emergency. And so if you have an agreement with the vendor saying, hey, if it's hot water, it's an emergency, then they're going to go ahead and do it. But you also have to have on the onboarding of the owner, like, hey, if it's hot water going out, we're just going to go ahead and get it fixed. We're not going to go do 3 quotes and all that good stuff. Now, you keep saying having an agreed upon price. Do you have like a pricing book that you work with? Okay, because a lot of vendors don't, because, man, like a lot of maintenance is out there. It's not like it's not cut and dry.
No.
Right?
Well, okay, so our pricing book is not all inclusive. There's no way for it to be all inclusive.
Correct.
Because you sent me 5 water heater work orders this week, and all 5 of them were completely different. I was able to drain one and fix it. I was able to replace
one's in the attic, one's in the garage.
Correct.
Yep.
So it's not cookie cutter, but having that pricing book right now, I think we have over 300 different maintenance items that we have a price for that we can provide to a PM that are negotiable, right? We feel like that these are solid prices, but I hear all the time that pricing is just all over the board. It's just, and we're trying to really drill down. We've worked on this extremely hard to drill down and to make it as affordable as possible. So we're willing to meet with that PM and sit down and have that conversation and say, what do you really need us for? And here's what we can do. We'll also tell you what we can't do.
I think a lot of challenges that we have with vendors get solved with this onboarding thing. So I keep going back to it, because really, I mean, all the challenges we have with our owners, we solved a great many of them when we had the onboarding with them, right? A real good onboarding. So what are some of the things that a property manager company should ask a new vendor before they onboard them?
Oh, well, the old adage, don't have anybody work for you that doesn't have insurance, right? Let's go back to the chuck in a truck. In a lot of states, you don't need workers' comp if you work for yourself and things like that. But I think that folks, there's got to be some requirements. I think insurance requirements and asking what they have on the front side, um, asking them if they're fluent in the operating system that you use, or if they're even tech savvy. Let's be real about this. Maintenance guys, a lot of times, are not tech savvy.
Right.
They really aren't. They are skilled. They know how to do things, but technology is not something that they've ever used. Now, you put a circular saw or a pipe wrench in their hand, and they'll go to work and do things that are amazing. What happens, Pete, is that sometimes this gets so cluttered and so confused, and there's so many hoops to jump through that there's a lot of guys out there that are well versed in this that just won't do it anymore or won't even get into it because they're like, there's too many requirements.
Right.
I think it goes back to, there was an old saying, keep it simple, stupid. And there's a lot to be said about that. We try to do that. We try to simplify it for the PM, but we're also trying to simplify it for the gentleman that's going out there to actually do the work. And if you can, there's got to be a fine line in there because the technology or some of the things that are being asked of them sometimes is just not conducive for them to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. What are some things that you ask if a property management company is trying to onboard you, what are some of the things that you're asking them?
First of all is, how many doors do they have? How many maintenance orders are they dealing with on a monthly basis? How many of said maintenance orders is being done by an internal maintenance tech if they have that? And what's their level of expectation from us? Let's set that from the very beginning because it goes back to the rules of engagement. If I know that, then we're good. And then one of the main things that I like to ask from them is that, and it's a pretty direct question, is how many maintenance vendors have you used in the last year and how many of them are still with you? Because not all work is good work. I don't mean to single anybody out, but it's just maybe we're not a fit for you.
Right.
Maybe you're not a fit for us. I would rather know that on the front side from a good interview process to have that conversation to know if we are going to be a good fit for one another. Because we go back to that 100 owners, right? There's 100 different people that we have to please through that PM, and the pricing sometimes based off of what the level of expectations is sometimes just not conducive for us. It just really isn't.
Yeah. And then do you talk about like payment though as well? Like,
yes, we do. That's one of the main questions. Michael, our CFO, says, we have to know what the payment terms are. And then there are some
you're paying your people to go out there. A lot of times you're paying for material and all that stuff. And then they hold it for, 30, 60, 90, whatever it is. Like, so yeah. I get it.
There's many times that I pride myself. We're on a 30-day net schedule. We pay every week to our guys and gals that are out there, to our vendors, and that we are turning that over as quickly as possible to them. And we're lucky to be able to do that through, some unique relationships that we have in the banking world. And that we have built over the years, but that is a big question for us because that determines the amount of cash flow. But I will also tell you that the amount of time that you're going to hold the payment from the vendor dictates on what they're going to charge you. There's a cost to that.
Got it. Okay. So it might not be in late fees, but it might actually be in like, hey, we're gonna increase this on the next whatever work orders, whatever, because they're not a great client, right? Like we always say, if I have D clients in the property management world, I don't just fire them. I just increase their price until they decide they want to leave.
It's the same for us. Yeah. We have walked away. We'll honor any commitments we have. We also tell them we'll honor our 1-year warranty on any of the work that we do because we offer that on everything that we do. I'll honor that even if after I backed away because it's still my work order.
Right.
And if there's a problem with it, then I'm going to take care of it. But that comes back down to good communication. Good communication can solve that. I think that any problems that happens between a vendor and anyone that's out there is that if we communicate it well, we can get through this.
One thing I learned early on when I started my PM firm was that cheaper isn't always cheaper. And so I was the guy that got the chuck in the truck. And I learned a few lessons. Number one was they don't have insurance a lot of times. And if you're not getting the insurance from the vendors and keeping up with it, that's something that we supposed to do, but a lot of us don't because we're so busy or we forget about it or it's not in our calendar. And you don't have an onboarding system, right? The onboarding system is get the insurance and all that good stuff.
Sure.
So I learned that the hard way. The second thing I also learned is they'll say that they have like a 1 year, where they maintain their work. Can't find them, right? A lot of times. And the third thing, I learned this a really hard way. I had a work order one time. I forget what it was. It wasn't a very, very big work order. The vendor was driving out there and he never goes. He never gets there. And I'm like, what the hell? And the residents calling me, yelling at me and everything. I'm like, what the hell happened to Lawrence? And I think maybe Lawrence is in a ditch somewhere. Maybe he got into a car accident. No, Lawrence ended up getting a call on the way there for a tile job. That was going to be a 3 days of work. And he made a left turn. And that's it. And next thing you know, the other thing I also learned is like, all right, got something done. I didn't go with the plumber. I went with the handyman, the chuck in a truck. He did the job. It worked for about 5 hours, and then it stopped working again. He goes back out. This time he went back out, couldn't fix it. And then the third time he doesn't go back out. So I had to go to plumber anyway. Meanwhile, he already got paid. And I had to call the plumber, and that's a tough conversation to have with your investor owner, who's like, yeah, wait a second, you sent this guy out there, and I'm like, yeah, I try to do it cheap, and so sometimes it's better to go a little bit more expensive, but using the vendor that will use the meld, has the insurance, will warranty the work, will go out there when they say they're going out there, right? How many times they say they're going out there, they don't show up? We'll do the before after photos and videos. We'll give you line item bids. We'll give you a pricing sheet ahead of time. Like these are all important items that it does cost a little more to get that. But man, I think in the long haul, it's actually a little bit cheaper.
I will, this is one of my biggest, one of the biggest topics that comes up a lot when I talk to folks is, are you actually going to show up? I can't tell you how many times that we have talked to folks that we win jobs just because we showed up. It happens all the time. That is 90% of the battle. After you show up, we can make things happen. It also though comes from that property management company setting a level of expectations for that, but also being good stewards towards that vendor, is because knowing the level of expectation, or the level, not expectation, excuse me, the level of skill in that vendor and who we're going to send out there. Are they able to actually do that? I would check references, man. I mean, before I send anybody, we check our guys that we hire, and we make sure that they can actually do this type of work. Send me some pictures of work that you have done before. Send me the phone number to people you have. Do a little bit of research on this, because and I would assume, just like us, we can lose a client so fast because of a poor service.
Right.
And you can lose an owner investor so quickly because of a shoddy job that was done by someone. And I just really think that it's that important for us to make sure that we're giving a good product and showing up. But also, once again, you do get what you pay for. Now, I think our pricing is extremely competitive across the board in the industry. I can't say it on here, but I'm going to tell you, we just dropped our water heater pricing to a level that I know is absurdly competitive, right? But we need to have those conversations on that front side. But we do show up, and we do make sure that it's being taken care of. We'll answer the phone. And if you tell us that there's an issue, we'll go out and fix it.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Same thing for property management companies. Answer the phone. You get a lot of business.
That's all you got. A lot of times, that's all it is.
You guys answer the phone, show up, just answer the phone. Yeah. Well, Patrick, I appreciate you, man. It's always good catching up. This was good insight to how maintenance vendors think. What you guys are semi-national. What areas do you guys service with Shamrock?
So we're based out of the state of Tennessee. We're in a. I'm really proud to tell you this. We're in a small community in Western Tennessee. Well, we're almost in Middle Tennessee. It's called Henry County, but our hometown here is Paris, Tennessee, like Paris, France. We even got an Eiffel Tower. It is. It's an awesome community. We're right off of Kentucky Lake. It's absolutely beautiful here. I am so happy that this is where our base is. So we service Memphis, Nashville, and Knoxville in the state of Tennessee. We're in Georgia, pretty much just Atlanta. We also service Florida, Jacksonville, Tampa, and Orlando. We service a small area of Mississippi just south of Memphis. We're also in Kansas City, Missouri. And then we expanded it in Texas at late last year. We serviced the areas of Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston.
Nice.
So real proud of that. We're looking at going into Oklahoma this year. But that's going to be determined by some things. But, real proud of the fact of where we're located at.
And if somebody was listening to this and they want to reach out to you and learn more about your services, what's the best way?
They can give us a phone call, and our number is 731-642-0899. And a member of our team can speak with them. We can also be found on the interweb by going to our website, shamrockpropertymaintenance.llc.com. The LLC is not in that. It's just shamrockpropertymaintenance.com. And then, I can always be reached on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn, and you can just reach out to me and I can connect you with a member of our team.
Awesome. And if you're not a member of NARPM, go to NARPM.org or give them a call at 800-782-3452. And if you need a maintenance coordinator, then shoot me an email or just go to our website, vpmsolutions.com or pete@vpmsolutions.com. And we have maintenance coordinator courses on there, and we actually have some software Property Meld courses are on there as well. So you can find a really good certified maintenance coordinator. Patrick, thanks so much for being here today.
Hey, can I bring up one more thing before you close?
One more thing before we close.
We are part of the Vendor Nexus program with Property Meld. So it's really easy for a property management company that is working with Property Meld to connect with us in any of the locations I gave you. You can go right in there and just connect with us. Then we can have an open meeting, have a discussion about our services. I'm really proud of that fact that we're part of that program. So it makes it really easy for the PMs to find us.
That's great. And VPM is part of that as well. So you could go, you can find both of us on there. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.